Hello everyone, Slu here, and today I'm going to be telling you about the top 5 Pokemon and the top lane for you to take into your ranked games as a solo queue player, or if you're a competitive player and looking for a different opinion or some new characters to try. I believe in upfronting the knowledge and giving you a face value take on what you're going to get when you watch this video so you don't waste your time. So I'm just going to go through a brief contents. We're going to dive into ranks 5 to 1 in that order, and then after I'm going to go and explain a little bit about why that Pokemon is in that rank, what's their key power, and a little bit of how to play them, and what would probably be its weakness. And that's pretty much what you're going to expect in this video. If that's not for you, that's okay. Just make sure you like the video and drop a sub and maybe write a comment about what you'd like to see instead. And of course, for those of you who'd like to stay, well, let's begin. Alright, great. So right away, top lane, very interesting role right now, very fun. I think it's a little bit on the tank side, and I think that'll reflect in my tier list. But to start it, we have an all-rounder in rank 5. It is going to be Blaziken. So, Blaziken, why Sulu? It seems like it's got a weak early game. Blaziken has a unique set of skills which makes it see itself as an actual carry in the top lane. It's bulky enough to do a lot of damage. It has high mobility, a lot of movement sets. Yes, it does take time and skill to learn and practice, but once you do that and put the time in place for Blaziken to be played, I think it comes off as a strong character that's very reliable, very it's versatile in a strong and powerful way as well. It has good secure, it's good mobility, and overall it's a great fighter too. It can hold the off lane, it does everything a top laner wants to do, and it has that healing aspect of it now. The buffs were really good, and I know it's sad that it got nerfed, but I feel like the more experienced Blazikens are really seeing their worth in team settings and even in solo queue. You can do a lot of great gameplays with Blaziken, definitely one of the more powerful characters right now. So I'm going to go into the map and I'm going to go show us a little bit about what I'm going to do as Blaziken. Alright, where's Blaziken? They didn't even have Blaziken. Bruh. Not okay, they do. I just didn't see it. I'm blind. Okay, there we go. We got Blaziken in the top lane. So, how I like to play Blaziken. When you play in the top lane, there's a few tricks you can do. So you can go and avoid these two minions here. Let's just say you avoided them. The first thing is, most Blazikens like to stack. So, I would just run to this minion, start hitting it a little bit, and then I'll try to stack one. And if they're denying your stacks, well, look, you gotta go and reconsider your game plan then. And there's a few other avenues that we'll explore in a second. But let's just say they weren't contesting you at all. What would you do as Blaziken? So yes, we go stack the first farm, the 2 farm we got here. Run up here, stack. Then we go and fight for their farm. We get that again and we stack. Then we fight for this farm here. Then we stack. We should be 4.5 now. And that's honestly like a very solid start. Now, okay, there's this farm to fight over. They would have cleared this in maybe year 2 as well. If you fight over this farm here that I'm just pointing at, I'll just go clear all that. If you fight over this farm and then go back to here, you might be able to hit 5, and then you're in a very good start of the game. As I said, for the first bees, we usually like to cover this in our tutorials because, of course, it gets a good starting of like how the game goes, and then you can go and make the diversions. It's pretty easy. You just want to dash forward and then kick the bees back into your team. You can stun them as well in case anyone jumps inside. So you just get a full I like to think of Blaziken as a good jumper in this sense because you jump inside the bees, and if someone jumps on top of the bees as well trying to get them from you, you could end up stunning them and lead into a very easy kill for your jungler. So that's how I like to approach the Blaziken. Just this quick jump here and then boom onto the wall. And you're pretty set. As I said, a pretty decent laner after this point. You're really playing for this level 7. When you get the first big move and turn into Blaziken, your stats will significantly increase. And then from there, you're playing into level 8, which is super important. I reckon Blaziken is one of the better offlaners. You just sit in this top lane the whole game. You really annoy them. I would recommend, if you are strong enough, to come down into the bot lane, come into the jungle, make some plays, be diverse, be active in the game. That's always something I recommend, and it will always pay off wisely. But, get your stacks. Get your money up. Go into this lane, farm really well. You have your overheat to farm well. You have the mobility to escape. Remember, Aura's Feeder has got the range of, I don't know, like a desert. Like you can throw it in one direction, it's going to hit someone with the AoE. It's actually insane. Really be mindful of using that. It's got a huge range in that sense. And the healing of Fire Punch after Aura Sphere lands is so huge. So don't forget to proc that passive. As I said, for this reason, I have it as number 5. I think very versatile. And talking a little bit about what this character struggles into is it struggles into squishy, long-range characters that never need to interact with it. You can dash and jump and everything. But if their character never needs to actually interact with you, Blaziken really does experience the weakness of being a diver without like permanent dive. You have a lot of dashes, you have the CC, but you just can't seem to close that final gap between a Mew and Inteleon at times, and that can really be the end of your character. So remember, playing in the bushes is nice, letting them come into you is nice. Think about these things, really punish them on this aspect of the game. Because if they get to go and play like those characters that can actually beat you in a 1v1, when they're like at long range and, you know, chip you down and whittle you away, the game is not fun for you. But Blaziken, you know, keep mobile, keep active, keep using spells. It's all about that. So that wraps it up for number 5. And boom, back we go into the little roster slot. And look over here. So what are we thinking number 4? Now, of course, as I said, just a little quick mention. If you've been liking the video, of course, please leave a sub and let me know who you expect to be as rank 1 for this patch. All right, and for number 4, the Speedster comes in as Leafeon. And Leafeon, very interesting pick. I like it quite a lot. I think actually that I've rated it quite highly as well in the jungle tier list too. But the main reason I find for that is that Leafeon is a super flexible Pokemon. It goes into the jungle well. It goes into the top lane well. Little bit different playstyle in the top lane, but I still feel that this Leafeon, with the secure range of Leaf Blade, Solar Blade, mind you, actually has a lot of precedent and impact in the game, and you're able to get ahead, able to secure these farm, able to actually make an impact in the game from an early start. Level 4 being your activation time, and you know, really being a menace from the rest of the game. You're going to get this quick Unite move, you're going to get a quick impact, and you're going to be able to quickly snowball top lane into like a nightmare for your opponents, especially when they're playing these slow tanks, especially when they're playing some of the later characters on the list. Leafeon's a little bit of a counter to them. It does have its own weaknesses, and we're going to talk about that in a second, but we're going to go quickly look at how you would clear as Leafeon. Now, Leafeon actually does have a moveset, unlike our friend Blaziken, so we're going to probably have to put it down. But anyway, blah blah, we got a Leafeon. As I said, once again, this double skip, so you do these two, and then you skip these two, and then you run to score, is a very viable strategy. Tick tick, we can do that very easily. There's another tactic. You can do all, and then go to fight middle. You do have a decent secure. As I said, more often than not, I want to fight for these two, farm, and get the scores in, because attack weight stacks are just king. Getting them ahead early is really, really powerful, and it means that there's a little bit less emphasis on some crazy backups in the late game. But anyway, you badly need to hit 4, so if you do all these, do this, and go back here, you guaranteed 4. You can also just go do this one here, do this one here, guaranteed 4. Like, these are all little tactics you can do. You don't need to get those attack weight stacks. You need level 4. So just try to think about that. Of course, attack weight stacks are king. I want you to prioritize that up high, but you need level 4. Without level 4, you're playing an Eevee. And I mean, like, look, Eevees are extremely adorable and cute, but they are terrible at Pokemon Unite. They do not do damage. They just look weak, and they get curb stomped by anything, particularly Zoroarks. So what I want you to do now is just exactly, as I said, choose whatever clear you'd like, no matter what they do. If you are afraid of getting domed in the lane, yes, you can clear this one. You can go over here, clear this one, and then you can go score. If you can't score, you can run back and just do this, and you safely guarantee level 4 for the beast. Beautiful. That's the safest route. Otherwise, you know, if you're a bit crazy, you can go fight for this, and then score here, and then fight for this one. And like, once you hit level 4, you have a lot of kill pressure. That's another thing to consider in the lane. So, alright, how you want to play the beast is quite simple. You go last, you have a big leaf blade, you beat everyone, the game is secure, do not lose anything, get the big B. Now you can look for kills. After you get the big B, you're going to be about level 5. You're probably going to be pretty strong. You hit your Leaf Blade, or Solar Blade in this case, auto attack, see if anyone's low, and then you can decide if you commit. You're going to have another Leaf Blade quickly after, and then you can just double bonk them. The bonk blade is actually broken. Please use it. Please abuse it. Use the range, then gap close. Range, then gap close. Don't play in their face until you have the time and the opportunity, and they're low health and they can't fight back. Use your range, then abuse it. Really huge mantra for Leafeon. Alright. And, you know, that's a bit about how Leafeon plays. A little bit about the gameplay in general is you want to jump in with this Leaf Blade ability, the circular dash. You hit the squishy. You're looking for squishies. Do not get focused up on the tanks. Damage farming in this character is literally irrelevant. If you're playing for poke, and I understand maybe doing some damage, do not get caught up in actually trying to dive the tanks. Maybe kill them for a tempo kill in the early game. Do not kill the tanks late game. Please, the amount of Leafeons I've seen diving insufficient targets that do not carry anything, you're going to waste your spells and your amazing ability to carry on something that is completely insignificant. dive the squishies, punish them, make their lives hell. And when you do that, you're playing a good game of Leafeon. You should make the Chandelures, the Dragapults, Inteleons, Glaceons, Mews, Delphox, Cinderace, Sylveon, all these characters should feel like hell playing against Leafeon, because you have an ability to literally erase 5,000 health in 1 second. Ulti, Blade, Auto Attack. Boom. And then you can go Leaf Blade after and see, what's happening, if they're still alive, by some miracle. Just want to make sure that you're running Flash in this Pokemon, because you need to have the eject button here ready to, when you ult and they eject away, you eject on top of them again to ensure you get the extra ult damage. It is key. So many people don't do this. So many people miss out on the extra bit of damage. It's a huge little trick that people don't know. Yes, I'm revealing it here, but I'm revealing it so you can be better and we can all win some more ranked games. Right, boom. So that's Leafeon in a nutshell. Just going to clear this from the screen and goodbye Leafeon, and boom. Number 3. What is the third best top laner in the game? And this is strange because this is where we start to feel, and I start to see a lot more of the tank dominance. You're going to play it a little bit less in the solo queue. It is going to be a little worse in that setting. But Lapras as number 3 comes in as the third best top laner in the game, in my opinion. And the reason for this is this character is absurd. You add levels onto Lapras, you add survivability onto this character, onto this tank, with quote marks. You are not just a tank, you are a death machine. We don't need to describe about the amount of time that Lapras has been a tier 1 top laner. But I still want to tell you that it is still a tier 1 top laner. This Unite move is so hopped up on every type of broken that you can imagine, is that it's still broken, even despite the nerfs to the rest of the kit. And Lapras' Unite move, being such a diverse and dynamic move, allows you to carry your teammates from back and forth in the battlefield, allows you to find excellent flanks from within the flux zone. I see a lot of Laprases not abusing the fact that they do not get slowed down in this Unite move unless they hit a wall. And yes, I know, some of you don't have your driver's license. I understand. I see you hitting walls all the time. It's time to just, go into practice tool and just run around with the Unite move. Once you figure it out, you'll feel so much more confident and just stop hitting walls. And that's my best advice. But for now, let's break down a little bit how Lapras plays. So this tank in the top lane, it's really actually a bruiser. Using this auto attack passive, which gives you healing, is the key part of Lapras. If you're not auto attacking, you're not playing this as a tank top. You're playing as a tank, and you're not going to do well. You need to auto attack in between your autos, in between your abilities. Without the auto attacks, you are going to get shredded in seconds. So make sure you're stunning the enemies and getting your auto off, stunning it whenever. Make sure these autos are coming out of Lapras' mouth and really healing you back for the health you deserve. The passive is broken with it. The 20% damage reduction is just so huge. And not to mention, just the overall kit enhances auto attacks when you're using them. The movesets are quite good, but I think the main difference would be that if you're playing against a tankier team, you probably do want to look at Perish Song. But if you're playing against a squishier team, Water Pulse does feel fine. I actually still like Perish Song for some reason. Ice Path is I'm pretty much certain that Ice Path is just the better move. Even though they don't get any shield or anything, the stun for so long and for so much damage is just so crazy. Little shield is going to disappear in seconds. Actually stunning them and putting them into kill threat range is disgusting with the Unite move. Anyway, let's look at the map. How do you play as Lapras? Whoop, and we put it on the map. You nearly always want to just take all the farm. If you're going stacking, as I said, once again, you can do this double strat, and then there's a score. You can even fight the middle. Do not fight the middle against a better secure. I'll just say go do your safe farm, because the stacks aren't super important on Lapras. I do like them, they're benefit, they help, but at the end of the day, with Resonant Guard now being in the game, you pretty much always want to run that, and if you want to drop Twisted Spoon for stacking specs, be my guest, but I do like Twisted Spoon, a bit more assured, you don't get jebaited. Look, I use Lapras in my example video of getting caught, because I see a lot of Lapras players just sit here and not die, right? The jungler comes up and you die. Don't do that mistake. Get out of here. Use your X speed. Be annoying. This is a character you run X speed on. This is a character that you really want to be thinking about surviving, living, just tanking for your team. Be the wall in front of their damage. Make sure that they cannot damage your carries. Now, as I said, with the two main playstyles of playing Lapras, for up this throughway and just otherwise just raw fighting them the entire time, you're going to get level 5. We're going to probably take if you're ahead, take Perish Song. I think it's just a better secure move. And yeah, you don't get that extra healing from the boosted autos. You can weave in your auto attacks in between clicking R or the Perish Song button. Trust me, if you can do that, it's nearly always better to take Perish Song early, especially if you're ahead. So, just looking at that, yes, with Perish Song, Ice Beam, You go keep farming the lane. You're not looking necessarily for solo kills unless you're really diving a really squishy character. You're looking for high impact unite moves. So speed running to level 9 is your key priority. And once you hit it, you're starting to look at these plays where you go into their base, basically with the unite move, and then roll all the way through the jungle. Or if you're spicier and you're a good driver like me, go like, ooh, this is one of my favorite routes. Another one of my favorite routes is this way. We'll keep drawing them as well, so like you can do just whatever path you want to take, and then from here you can go using the second one, and they pretty much cannot avoid. Like usually most players have bad map awareness, and they pretty much cannot avoid. When you appear here, there is no way to run. They cannot run here, they cannot run there, because you can still path up here. You can still path to here as well to catch them. You're going to hit a huge tidal wave, and it's a game ending for that pad. And I think that's one of the reasons Lapras is so broken. He can leave behind his opponent in the top lane, and they're going to be dilly-dallying and gazing, while Lapras is already ejected onto the whole enemy team with this beautiful unite move. So when you play Lapras, huge incentive on roaming, huge incentive of picking off the squishies, huge incentive of flushing enemies out of their hiding zones. That is what you use your unite for. It's a good engage, it's a good counter engage, it's a good escape, but it is really, really good at flushing enemies out of hiding zones, and it's good at punishing. I have 1,000,002 Lapras clips where I just stunned 5 people because they refused to leave their hiding zone. You have to abandon it when you're playing against Lapras, and as a Lapras player, you need to remember, hey look, if they're holed up, it's my go time. It is your domain. Lapras excels in that zone, and that's when you want to really pressure them with the Lapras. So hopefully I've given you some tips and ideas, and if you want to take Lapras into ranked, be my guest. Hopefully you can credit a new win to me. Alright, great. Oh, quickly, let's remove Lapras from the field. And now, what is rank 2? Rank 2 coming in hot. The all-rounder Especialisto, the bug-type Mosquito Man. It is Buzzwole. Now, I think a lot of people are going to be a bit surprised that, I'm not talking about Zacian and Mewtwo X. That's just mainly because I feel like these characters are so obviously the strongest. Mewtwo X is possibly the biggest bully in the game once it gets a half of its pressure gauge at level 4. Like, you can't auto-trade of it, you can't do anything. And it actually feels terrible to play against. So, I don't need to explain that much. And Zacian, do we even talk about that character? Omega Broken. If you lose lane as Zacian, please consider how you're playing Zacian. Maybe I'll have to drop a Zacian guide, because you shouldn't be losing lane as Zacian. Zacian is like god tier. Anyway, so rank 2 is Buzzwole, the all-rounder king. I really like Buzzwole. I think it's so strong at countering the rank 1. We're not going to talk about it yet, but yes, it is a huge counter to rank 1, and there's a few things that hold it back from being the best in top lane, but I do believe if you are a top laner and you don't have a Buzzwole in your back pocket, you need to learn it now before, they either got it or they make it even more strong, because it has just been getting stronger and stronger and stronger. It has a shield and superpower, which you nearly always take. It has a 0.5 extra second stun on superpower. Superpower gets resets. You do huge damage to tanks. You kill squishies. You have engage. You have disengage. You have peel. You were a tank's dream in the sense that, if they get to kill you, they feel like they've gotten so much value, because Buzzwole puts immense pressure. Being able to throw the tank into the backline, hurting their own carries, and then finish them all off with an executing move that locks onto targets. It's just so insane. Now, of course, that's a bit harder to aim, but once again, talking about the builds, I nearly always run Superpower and Punch. What's the punch called anyway? It's like Uppercut or something, I don't know. Sky Uppercut, yes. I think that's no, it's not called Sky Uppercut, what am I talking about? But either way, it's some type of punch. Anyway, you punch in the forward direction. That move is absolutely busted. The eject combo of that catches so many players off guard. They need to permanently be afraid if you have eject button, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Anyway, jumping into the lane as Buzzwole, you pretty much can do all of them, no matter what, and you nearly always want to fight for this. Your main secure in lane is the Fell Stinger ability, which is like a straight line dash, and with the closer your gauge is to full, the more damage it does. When the gauge is full, you can pretty much one-shot the Boltoys from half health. I want you to think about this. You come into lane, the only way you can lose this Boltoy is if they stand in front of you. You can literally just hold the A button. Beat them up. I'm encouraging it heavily. Buzzwole is about beating them up. You're going to beat them to a pulp, hold A, smash them up. A lot of the times they get worried and they back off and you just get your farm. Sometimes they think they're big boys and they want to rock with you. And that's when Buzzwole excels, because they think that they can kill Buzzwole. And when Buzzwole has Focus Band, When Buzzwole has Muscle Band and it has attack weight or weakness policy, whatever you have in Buzzwole, you are such a scary threat in these fights. You just keep stacking your attack stat, and then all of a sudden, you're just going to pop them from half health with Fell Stinger. Forget the farm. This guy is free, and it's worth like double the experience of one of farm. So think about that. Think about that aspect of the play. Do not let them just solely walk up and bully you. If you have a support that's helping you, just beat them up as Buzzwole. It is so broken. So you nearly always, don't do any of these shy clears. Go to the middle farm or go to score. Do whatever you want. You are the king of the lane in Buzzwole. I don't think any Pokemon has any chance against this. And you nearly always are expected to floor the enemy positioning. The only Pokemon that really has a chance, talking about counters I guess, is Leafeon because of its long range and Solar Blade. But realistically, you could eject after it. You can, if you ever pick up that Leafeon, that small little plant Eevee is going to get destroyed. This bug guy has no mercy. It is such a cruel Pokemon to go against. So the key chain of gameplay is you pretty much want to superpower someone, punch them, superpower again with the reset at level 11. So that means thinking about levels, level 11 is your impact level. You really badly want that, but level 9 and level 7 are also really big. Level 9 for the Unite move and level 7 for the punch, which really opens up your gameplay. Superpower is really good, but sometimes we overestimate it and get ourselves killed. Don't forget you are losing a lot of CC about the uppercut move. I'm never going to get the name right. Superpower is just Buzzwole's bread and butter. You want to really understand how it works, really understand how the flicking mechanic and pulling players back and forth works, and try not to miss them. Missing them is the main reason Buzzwole isn't S tier. I feel a lot of people miss this Buzzwole ability, and for that reason, it significantly lowers in its actual ability to be like one of the better characters in the game. And you have to account for that in these sort of things, like how many people can play the Pokemon despite its strength. So for solo queue, Buzzwole is definitely Omega S tier. You're destroying the lane, you're having huge impact, you scale decently well, you do struggle against these long range mages once again when they can lock you down. You sort of have some weak gap closers. You have to remember that to gap close, you either have to use the eject button and then you have no escape, or you have to burn all your abilities in a futile attempt to really grab one of these long range slippery carries. Like something like Glaceon absolutely farms Buzzwole if Buzzwole cannot get close to it. However, it all changes when Buzzwole's on top of it. Just like Blaziken, if you're camping in bushes and you're hiding and you grab someone, punch them, grab them again, nearly every character in the game is dead. If they're not dead, they're going to be close to dead and you can just auto-attack them for another reset and superpower and they're dead. It is so strong. Do not underestimate Buzzwole. You got to learn this character if you haven't already. It is one of the best laners in the game. It is one of the best Pokemon in the game in general. I think there's huge stonks for players who haven't played this character. It's so fun. It's so interesting. Has unique mechanics. You need to give Buzzwole a try. This character is definitely S tier and it's tier rank 2. So with Buzzwole getting such high praises and countering the rank 1, what is rank 1? Of course, there's nothing else left. If you look at the list of Pokemon, if you think about the Pokemon I'm going to say, you know already. Everyone knows in their hearts, our hairs are rising here. It has to be Blastoise. This creature, this shelled guy, this tortoise, Yoshi looking like... I have expletives to say. Blastoise is the nightmare of top lane. If you know how to play Blastoise, you have carry Blastoise in your back pocket, you have tank Blastoise in your back pocket, it feels like you're playing against the multi-dimensional universe. It's like Thanos, but blue and with a shell and blasters on his back. I hate this character. I also love it, but I hate this character. Its Unite move is one of the most insane, crazy, scary Unite moves in the game. Imagine injecting into a fight, knocking out 5 players and doing 2,000 damage to all of them. Blastoise is like him. It is the character. It's so powerful. And you'd think, okay, well then Sulu, this guy must suck in the early game. Oh, you are wrong. Blastoise's early game is also phenomenal. Squirtle actually destroys with this disgusting push ability. And I mind my language, but it's just gross. How is he able to just stun you and do 1,200 damage? It's like if Water Gun and Inteleon had a stun. You can chain an auto after it, then you get one of the best mobility moves in the game in Skull Bash with a stun and the dash. Not to mention the amount of flash combos you can do on Blastoise. It is so gross. Now, alright, Wartortle, a little bit of a downgrade. You literally would rather be Squirtle. That's how rough it is. Because unless you're grabbing unless you're grabbing Hydro Pump, you're definitely getting a downgrade by grabbing Water Spout. And I really dislike that move until level 7 when you can get the Rapid Spin to complement. I've seen also Rapid Hydro builds going out. Look, Hydro Pump I feel is like one of the main abilities to make Blastoise. I probably should give more effort and ideas to Hydro Spin, but I haven't played it that much, so I'm not going to comment on it too much. We're going to erase this, we're going to summon back Buzzwole, and we're going to look at Blastoise. When we look at this character, what are we thinking? Full clear. You can Water Gun these ones, Auto Attack this one here, and then Water Gun here, and then a boosted auto, and you kill them all by yourself, and you're here 945. You contest this middle one, you stun the guy, you get it, you go to their side, you stun them, contest, get it, you go. This is the biggest bully in the lane. This blue bully, Squirtle, can do whatever it wants to you, especially in the hands of a good one. It's going to stun you out of secure ranges. It is going to abuse the hell out of you. Unless two people are marked onto the Squirtle, Squirtle is favored to get every piece of farm. Nearly no Pokemon can really do anything if it can line up the Water Gun with the farm and you. You can't do anything. It's going to one-hit it, and it's going to drop a 200 damage boosted auto attack, which is going to always secure the farm. And then it's going to taunt you with Resonant Guard. It is just so gross to play against. Now, as I said, you're basically the bully in the lane. Go chase them for all the farm, beat them down, push them away, do whatever you want. Whatever you do is just going to be looking better because you're on Blastoise. You should get level 5 before the bees. If you don't, that's okay. Skull Bash, push, beautiful, easy. As you see, look, just like Blaziken without any of the risk. So, yes, Blastoise is definitely turbo broken. You're nearly always taking eject button because you want to be able to eject button onto the squishies. You want to be able to go and get this huge Unite moves. You're a character that excels at level 7. Your character excels at level 9. You have a good level 5 if you take Hydro Pump. You are just a super scaler. And use this idea that you're in top lane. You're not a tank anymore. You are a damage carry. Go find your damage carries. You know, forget about your guys when you're playing Blastoise in ranked games. Forget about your guys. If you're playing Blastoise top, it is your turn to carry. You dive onto the enemy team and you cause pressure, pressure, pressure. You are literally a pressure soaker. So, you know, use it however you will. Very strong character. Super abusive lane patterns and toxic gameplay. As I said, the gameplay loop is quite simple. You look for these squishy characters and you abuse them. If you're spin, you go into the spin mode, you click Hydro Pump, you hold it. Water Spout. You hold it and you absolutely abuse them. You just spin on top of them, they're going to die. Zoroark is going to die. Like, a lot of the speedsters really struggle against this one because of the not only enhanced defense stat, but the amount of damage that comes out from Water Spout. And they're basically your biggest XP farm. The attackers also have no hope. So, you got your targets. What does Blastoise struggle into? It really does badly against the Buzzwole. I guess we didn't really talk too much about Buzzwole counters in the lane because nothing beats that thing. But Blastoise, it can go even. It can never really beat a good Buzzwole. And that's something I want you all to consider. That, you know, there is a hierarchy. There's a weird trio going on, I guess, in a lot of regions where I'm seeing a lot of Blastoise, Buzzwole, and then Lapras. I think this is mainly in Asia. And it's just because the preferences there, like what they like. They like playing the double tank strategy. But yes, this is definitely something to consider. Blastoise up there is the S tier. It is the best. It is so gross. It flexes into both lanes so perfectly. But mainly, if you want to play a top carry and want to do a lot of devastating damage while being a tanky boss in the game, Blastoise is the pick. I don't think anything's any better. There's a million tricks between the Rapid Spin with Hydro Pump, between Rapid Spin and Water Spout, between Surf and Pump. I guess I'll divulge one of my favorite tricks is to surf someone into a wall and immediately Hydro Pump them right after into the same wall. You're going to nuke them for half their health and they're going to be stunned and literally pushed against the wall for the last like 6 seconds. It's so gross. There's nothing like it in the game outside of this character or maybe Trevenant. And Trevenant suffers a lot in exchange to that. Whereas Blastoise, you're like willy-nilly all nice and free. You're unstoppable for half the game. You jump in with Unite move. You're so scary to fight. It is the king of top lane. So, guys, there you have it. Take a good look. You have ranks 1 to 5. The best 5 top laners in the game, by my opinion. Now, of course, I want you to leave a comment letting me know what you think about this list. You know, maybe if I should move up or down, depending on what we think. But I feel like this, from my top lane experience, is the best 5 Pokemon in the game for the top lane. And not counting Zacian and Mewtwo X, of course. Now, of course, if you loved the video, please leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon in the next video. Cheers.